bolts in there just to get it hanging, move on to the next one. So the bottom set of anchor bolts are a 1/2 inch. So you go to the top, oh, I can't even get it in there. You know, so just drastically speaking, I mean, and this happens all the time. You know, in turn, Cliff's got to go down here, break all the bolts loose on the column, pull this piece out, set the top one first, feed the second one down in, beat the crap out of the bullpens to try to get holes to line up, then snug up the anchor bolt. So you're almost going completely backwards in all your steps.
Which then in turn that can throw our columns out of plumb,
Right.
which is a chain reaction.
Yep. Where is that tied to? Is it tied to your elevator shaft? Is it tied to your exterior, you know, columns? What is it? So the next one, you know, we're saying the bolts are shrouded too far. Again, Cliff is going to set his bottom beam first. You can already see how bad I'm wedging these out. You're just trying to get it in there. And then he gets to the top. His inside hole that's almost 2 inches off is almost hitting. You're hitting in there. So again, he's trying to beat that and flex them together. All that does is put everything in tension. You know, again, Cliff's more the experienced one in that than I am, but all that stuff and all that effort slows everything down. You know, as you start to build.
At that point there, we're having to fab that
Right.
tube or that beam, whatever that dirt is. I mean, we're having to cut it down, re-weld plates on, so re-drill holes. I mean, it's
Kind of going back to Ben's realm a little bit more. You get some of these things that are flexed out of plumb. If you only have a 1/2 inch spacing for your sheathing or whatever, 5/8 I guess. And that's got bent plate on the outside. You only had 5/8 clearance before. Guess what you don't have now? You don't have that 5/8. So you're getting an engineer judgment to either back cut out structural studs and what you have to do to do that, or you start talking about shifting the wall out. Shifting the wall out is the foundation there to support it. Yes or no? I don't know. You can't close the air gap because it's designed for that. That's a perfect set of anchor bolts. Everything's plumb, everything's square. Obviously he'll have to, come along and rack it, when he goes to bolt it all off. But the installation was there and easy. Easier on him, easier on him. It starts with me though. If I don't put these bolts in right, square, plumb, right projection, every little bit builds on him. Guess what we do? We build on ourselves all the way through a project. So every error I cause, he's got to fight through it. It ends up being a deficit in his budget. What do we do when we start getting a deficit in our budget? We start to freak out. We start to try to work through things too fast. We try to correct it, in turn we cause more errors. He causes errors of his own, and granted he's allowed in 30 foot, what, 1.5 inches per,
yeah.
What would 1.5 inches do to you?
Too detrimental.
Right. Depending on the size of bolts, I could be at, 1/2 to 3/4. But what does that 1/2 to 3/4 do to him? It's, yes, we all have tolerances, but nobody designs to a tolerance when they design anything. They design things to be right on. That's the beauty and, the deficit of self-performing so much. You know, yes, we have many divisions, but it all builds on Danis. I can do a lot to help him out. That's why I do anchor bolt as-built. Cliff, these two columns are out of skew this way, the bolts are. Hug everything to the north. You hug it to the north, your error is probably gonna be a quarter. Quarter to him is, you know, it's not a big deal, but if he doesn't know that, he's either gonna center his bolts in the holes, or they're just gonna land it and go. You know, so anything you can do to have knowledge, you know, over the event is critical. You know, knowledge is, you know, we all make mistakes. Again, you know, visualizing or realizing that mistake and make the conscious effort to fix it right away versus, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. Another thing of mine is, you know, Doug mentioned a set of bolts or a concrete pier that we poured down in Middletown. Again, drawings had a lot of errors to them, but it's still our job to, you know, vet out some of those issues. When you start foundations or steel or even building walls, until you start to tie everything back together, it's a vague picture. Things don't appear until they start to touch each other. We're out doing that foundation work, and I didn't realize there's 5 piers for columns out front on the front part of Kettering Medical Center in Middletown. I didn't realize the 5th one was actually inside the vestibule, and it was just for 4x4 posts. Well, we poured them all the same height because there wasn't no description on the last one. You know, going along, they looked great because, you know, everything looked nice, symmetrical across there. Thought we were knocking it out of the park until we start setting steel. We were backfilling right in front, you know, to get them good running, you know, lanes and everything. You fill out, you know, inside you're filling up to 6 inches below top of wall or below slab. So the visual wasn't there until at that moment. And it's, shit, why is that top of pier equal to the top of slab? That ain't right. But they were still a phase and a half back. We were able to excavate back around it, saw cut it off, drill and epoxy anchor bolts. Is that a great solution? No, but it was still a solution, and it didn't have any scheduled detriment. So again, we all make mistakes. It's realizing when you do make it and create that corrective action, you know, right away. Any comments on this part of it from anyone? You ready to go outside, Doug?
Yep, that's fine.
We're gonna go out and do a linker rod demonstration outside. Has anyone used a linker rod? I don't know, a little bit. So it isn't for everyone or every application. We'll start out with that. So if you wanna